The baby shower invitation arrived on a Tuesday morning, addressed in my sister's familiar handwriting. Pink and gold script announced, "Join us in celebrating baby girl Thompson," with a date 3 weeks away. I stared at the elegant cardstock, my coffee growing cold as the reality hit me like a freight train. My 24-year-old sister Amanda was having a baby, and the father wasn't her boyfriend of 2 years who'd left her 6 months ago. The father was my husband of 8 years, David. I'd known about the pregnancy for 2 months now, ever since that devastating night when David came home from what he claimed was a work conference and confessed everything. Amanda had been staying with us in our Atlanta home while she got back on her feet after her breakup. One night, while I was pulling a double shift at the hospital where I worked as a cardiac nurse, they'd both been drinking, both feeling sorry for themselves, and one thing led to another. "It was just one night, Rebecca," David had said, his voice breaking as he knelt beside our bed. "One stupid, drunken mistake. I love you. Only you. This doesn't change anything between us." But it changed everything. The trust I'd built with my husband over 8 years of marriage was shattered. The relationship I'd had with my baby sister, the girl I'd practically raised after our father died when she was 12, was destroyed. And now there was going to be a baby, a permanent reminder of their betrayal. The worst part wasn't even the affair itself. It was the aftermath. The way my family rallied around Amanda, treating her pregnancy like a blessing instead of the result of adultery. The way everyone tiptoed around her feelings while mine were dismissed as overreacting and holding grudges. My mother, Carol, had been the worst. 3 days after David's confession, when I'd called her sobbing and looking for support, her first words weren't comfort for me. They were concern for Amanda. "Rebecca, I know you're hurt, but you need to think about your sister right now. She's scared, she's alone, and she's carrying your niece. This baby is innocent in all of this. Innocent. As if the pregnancy had happened by immaculate conception instead of adultery. I'd tried to explain to Mom how devastating this was for me, how I couldn't just pretend everything was normal, how I needed time to process what had happened to my marriage. But every conversation came back to Amanda's needs, Amanda's feelings, Amanda's pregnancy. She didn't mean for this to happen, Mom would say. Neither of them did. Sometimes these things just happen when people are vulnerable and hurting. These things, as if adultery was as unavoidable as catching a cold. David had been begging for forgiveness ever since his confession, promising to do whatever it took to save our marriage. He'd moved into the guest room, started individual therapy, even suggested couples counseling. But every time I looked at him, all I could see was the man who'd betrayed me with my own sister. And now Amanda was having a baby shower, a celebration of the pregnancy that had destroyed my marriage. And according to the invitation, it was being hosted by my mother and my Aunt Linda at Mom's house, the same house where Amanda was now living, having moved back home after I told her she could no longer stay with us. I picked up my phone and called Mom, knowing this conversation wouldn't go well but needing to understand how we'd gotten to this point. "Rebecca, did you get Amanda's shower invitation? Isn't it exciting? We're all so thrilled about the baby." "Thrilled?" I couldn't hide the disbelief in my voice. "Mom, this baby is the result of my husband cheating on me with my sister. How exactly is that thrilling?" "Rebecca, we've talked about this. What happened between David and Amanda was a mistake. A terrible mistake, but a mistake nonetheless. This baby didn't choose how she was conceived. She deserves to be celebrated and loved." "And what about me, Mom? Do I deserve consideration for how this affects me?" "Of course you do, sweetheart. But you can't stay angry forever. At some point, you need to forgive and move forward. That's what families do." "Move forward?" "Mom, my marriage is over. My sister betrayed me in the worst possible way, and you're throwing her a baby shower to celebrate it." "I'm throwing a baby shower to celebrate my granddaughter," Mom said firmly, "and I expect you to be there. This family has been through enough division. It's time to start healing." "Healing? How is pretending everything is fine going to heal anything?" "Rebecca, families don't break over mistakes like this. Yes, what happened was wrong, but we work through it. We forgive. We support each other. That's what love means." I hung up the phone and stared at the baby shower invitation again. Pink and gold script celebrating the destruction of my marriage. A family gathering where I'd be expected to smile and coo over baby clothes while pretending my heart wasn't broken. That's when I realized that my mother's definition of family love looked very different from mine. In her world, love meant sweeping problems under the rug, avoiding difficult conversations, and protecting the people who caused the most damage. In my world, love meant honesty, accountability, and supporting the people who'd been hurt. I had a choice to make. I could go to that baby shower, paste on a fake smile, and pretend that everything was fine for the sake of family peace. Or I could finally stand up for myself and show my family that some betrayals have consequences. The decision would define not just my relationship with my family, but my entire future. I didn't go to the baby shower. Instead, I spent that Saturday afternoon at the botanical gardens, walking among the roses and trying to find peace in the one place that had always calmed me. My phone buzzed constantly with messages I refused to read, calls I wouldn't answer. When I finally returned home that evening, David was waiting in the kitchen with a look of dread on his face. "Your mother called," he said quietly. She's really upset that you didn't come today. I'm sure she is. Rebecca, maybe you should have gone. For the family, for Amanda." I stared at my husband, the man who'd shared my bed for 8 years, who'd held me through my father's death, who'd promised to love and honor me, and felt nothing but exhaustion. "David, do you hear yourself? You're asking me to attend a celebration of your affair baby for the sake of family harmony. It's not like that. It's exactly like that." I sat down across from him at the kitchen table where we'd shared thousands of meals, made countless plans for our future together. "Tell me something, David. If the situation were reversed, if I'd gotten pregnant by your brother and your family was throwing me a celebration, would you attend?" He opened his mouth, then closed it, unable to answer. That's what I thought. My phone rang again. Mom's name flashed on the screen, and this time I answered. "Rebecca Marie, I cannot believe you missed your sister's baby shower. Do you have any idea how hurt she is? How disappointed everyone was?" "Mom, I wasn't going to sit in a room full of people pretending to celebrate a pregnancy that destroyed my marriage." "Stop being so dramatic. This isn't about you, Rebecca. This is about an innocent baby who deserves to be welcomed into this family. An innocent baby conceived through adultery. Oh, for heaven's sake, are you going to punish this child forever for how she was conceived? Are you going to let your pride destroy this entire family?" I felt something snap inside me. My pride? Mom, my husband cheated on me with my sister. My sister, the girl I helped raise, who I've supported through every crisis in her life, stabbed me in the back in the worst possible way. And you're worried about my pride? I'm worried about this family falling apart because you can't find it in your heart to forgive a mistake. Stop calling it a mistake. I stood up, my voice rising. A mistake is using salt instead of sugar in a recipe. A mistake is forgetting someone's birthday. This was a choice. They both made a choice to betray me. Rebecca, you need to calm down. No, I don't need to calm down. I need you to listen to me for once. For 8 years, I've been the responsible one. I've been the one who helped Amanda through every breakup, every job loss, every crisis. I've been the one who took care of Dad when he was sick, who helped you with the funeral arrangements, who kept this family together. And the one time I need support, the one time I'm the one who's been hurt, you side with the people who hurt me. I'm not siding with anyone. I'm trying to think about what's best for everyone. What about what's best for me, Mom? What's best for you is learning to forgive and moving on with your life. Holding on to this anger is going to destroy you. I looked at David, who was listening to my side of the conversation with growing awareness of how little support I'd received from my family. Mom, let me ask you something. If Dad had gotten another woman pregnant while he was married to you, would you have thrown that woman a baby shower? That's completely different. How? How is it different? Because this is family. Amanda is your sister. Exactly. She's my sister, which makes what she did even worse, not better. Rebecca, families don't break over mistakes like this. We forgive. We move forward. We support each other through difficult times. Whose difficult time are we talking about, Mom? Amanda's? Because she's the one who has to deal with being pregnant? Or mine because I have to deal with the fact that my marriage is over? Your marriage doesn't have to be over. David made a mistake, but he loves you. You two can work through this if you want to. I looked at David again, saw the hope that flickered in his eyes at Mom's words. So that's the solution? I should just forgive and forget and go back to pretending everything is normal? I'm saying that throwing away 8 years of marriage over one night of poor judgment seems extreme. One night of poor judgment. Is that what you're calling it when your son-in-law gets your daughter pregnant? Rebecca, your tone is completely inappropriate. I'm trying to help you see reason here. Reason? Mom, you want me to welcome my husband's affair baby into the family with open arms while pretending that everything is fine. You want me to continue being married to a man who betrayed me with my own sister. You want me to play happy family while my heart is broken. That's not reason. That's denial. What I want is for this family to stay together. What I want is for you to stop being so selfish and think about someone other than yourself for once. The word selfish hit me like a slap. Selfish? Yes, selfish. Amanda needs our support right now. She's going to be a single mother. She's going to be a single mother because she chose to get pregnant by her sister's husband. And that baby is going to need her family. All of her family. including you. What about what I need, Mom? What you need is to grow up and learn that life isn't always fair, but we deal with it anyway. We don't throw tantrums and tear families apart because we don't get our way. I felt tears starting to form, but I refused to let them fall. Mom, do you love me? Of course I love you. You're my daughter. Then why does it feel like you care more about Amanda's feelings than mine? Why does it feel like you're asking me to sacrifice my dignity and self-respect so that she doesn't have to face consequences for what she did? Because that's what family means, Rebecca. Sometimes we sacrifice for each other. Sometimes we put other people's needs before our own. And what has Amanda ever sacrificed for me? The silence on the other end of the line was telling. That's what I thought, I said quietly. This conversation is over, Mom. When you're ready to support your daughter who was wronged instead of the one who did the wronging, you can call me back. I hung up the phone and looked at David, who was staring at me with something that might have been understanding. She really said that? He asked. She really called you selfish? She did. Rebecca, I had no idea. I knew your family was supporting Amanda, but I didn't realize they were treating you like the villain in all this. Now you know. We sat in silence for a few minutes before David spoke again. What are you going to do? I looked around our kitchen, at the life we'd built together, at the man who'd destroyed it all. I'm going to do what I should have done months ago. I'm going to choose myself. The next morning, I called a divorce lawyer. Word of my divorce filing spread through my family like wildfire. Within hours of serving David the papers, my phone was ringing nonstop. First Mom, then Aunt Linda, then my cousin Sarah, all with the same message. I was making a terrible mistake. Rebecca, you can't just throw away your marriage, Mom pleaded during her third call that day. Think about what you're doing. David loves you. He made one mistake. Stop calling it a mistake, I said wearily. I've asked you a dozen times to stop minimizing what happened. Fine. He had an affair. But people recover from affairs, Rebecca. Stronger couples than you have worked through worse. Stronger couples don't usually have to work through affairs with their spouse's sister. That's exactly why you need to try harder. This family can't survive if you divorce David. Think about holidays. Think about family gatherings. You're going to tear this family apart. I'm going to tear the family apart. Mom, what tore this family apart was David and Amanda's choices. I'm just refusing to pretend it didn't happen. 2 days later, Amanda called for the first time since I'd discovered her pregnancy. Rebecca, please don't do this, she said, her voice thick with tears. I know what I did was wrong, but you're my sister. I need you in my life. This baby needs her aunt. Amanda, you made your choice when you slept with my husband. Actions have consequences. It was one night, one stupid, drunken night when I was heartbroken and wasn't thinking clearly. How can you throw away 20 years of sisterhood over one mistake? Because that one mistake changed everything. It changed my marriage. It changed my family. It changed my entire life. Rebecca, I'm scared. I'm going to be a single mother, and I need my family's support. You have Mom's support. You have the whole family's support, you just don't have mine. But you're my sister. Sisters don't sleep with each other's husbands, Amanda. The final confrontation came a week later. Mom called and demanded I come to Sunday dinner, a family meeting disguised as a meal. Everyone will be there, she said. David, Amanda, your Uncle Tom, Aunt Linda. We're going to settle this once and for all. Against my better judgment, I went. The moment I walked into Mom's dining room, I felt like I was facing a tribunal. They were all there, sitting around the table where we'd shared countless family meals, looking at me like I was the problem that needed solving. Rebecca, Mom began, we're here because this family is falling apart, and it needs to stop. I agree. It does need to stop. Amanda and David need to face consequences for what they did instead of everyone pretending it never happened. The consequence is that Amanda is going to be a single mother, Uncle Tom said. Isn't that punishment enough? Being a single mother isn't punishment. It's the natural result of getting pregnant by someone else's husband. Rebecca, you're being vindictive, Aunt Linda chimed in. This isn't like you. You're right. The old Rebecca would have swallowed her pain and played along to keep everyone happy. But that Rebecca was a doormat. Mom slammed her hand on the table. That's enough. Rebecca, you have a choice to make. You can continue this destructive path, divorce David, and cut yourself off from your family. Or you can forgive, stay married, and help us welcome this baby into our family with love. Those are my options. Stay married to my cheating husband or lose my family? If that's how you want to put it, yes. David, who had been silent throughout the dinner, finally spoke. Rebecca, I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm begging you. Don't let my mistake destroy this entire family. I looked around the table at these people who shared my blood, my history, my name. People who were asking me to sacrifice my dignity and self-respect for their comfort. You want to know what's destroying this family? I said quietly. It's not my refusal to forgive. It's your refusal to hold people accountable. It's your insistence that keeping the peace is more important than doing what's right. Rebecca, Mom started. No, let me finish. You're asking me to choose between my family and my self-respect. You're asking me to stay married to a man who betrayed me so that holidays won't be awkward. You're asking me to welcome my husband's affair baby so that Amanda doesn't feel bad about her choices. I stood up from the table. Well, here's my choice. I choose myself. I choose my dignity. I choose a life where I don't have to pretend that betrayal is acceptable for the sake of family harmony. If you walk out that door, Mom said, her voice cold, don't expect this family to be waiting for you when you change your mind. I understand, I said, and that tells me everything I need to know about what this family really values. As I drove home, I realized something liberating. I was finally free to build a life based on my own values instead of trying to meet my family's expectations. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is walk away from people who ask you to be smaller so they can feel better. 2 years later, I'm living in a new city with a new job and genuine peace. The divorce was finalized quietly. David and Amanda's relationship didn't survive the pressure of their choices. He pays child support, but they're not together. Mom calls occasionally, usually around holidays, asking when I'm coming to my senses. She still calls what happened a mistake and insists families should forgive and forget. But I've learned that forgiveness doesn't require accepting unacceptable behavior. It doesn't mean sacrificing your boundaries for others' comfort. My new life isn't perfect, but it's authentic. I've built friendships based on mutual respect rather than obligation. I've learned that family should lift you up, not tear you down to protect others. The hardest lesson was realizing that choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. Some relationships aren't worth saving if they require you to lose yourself in the process. I miss the family I thought I had, but I don't miss the family that asked me to choose their comfort over my dignity. That choice set me free.